Hey guys, we're going to try another one of these. Hopefully starting to get the hang of it. Now, the big difference on this one, it's going to have some negatives in it. But again, we did negatives when we were doing those discriminants. The first video, we did negatives, so this shouldn't be a big deal. Again, you have negative positions on the coordinate plane, on the axis, so you can get negatives in a triangle, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so A is -4, -3, B is -1, 7, and C is 5, -1. Okay, so again, we've kind of gotten the pattern down on a lot of this. We just got to work out the numbers, especially with the negatives. So again, -4, -3, and a 1, -1, +7 and a 1, 5, -1 and a 1. Okay? So there's our matrix filled out. We had the plus and minus 1/2 in front. Okay, so again, there is our 3x3 matrix set up. Okay, now let's go ahead and just start solving this. Okay, so we'll put these numbers back in. Okay, I'm going to grab my red marker. Okay, remember we circle the first term, cross out the row and column. Okay, and remember in front of the first one is -1 squared. Okay, again, that's not going to do anything because it's an even power, but again, this is in the formula. Okay, now we have -4 with a discriminant of that 7, 1, -1, 1. Okay, again, the -1 squared cancels away because a -1 squared is +1, which doesn't do anything. Okay, I got the -4. Okay, now I need to do that crisscross. 7 times 1 minus, now remember guys, we did this with the negatives. So the minus is in the formula, now -1 times 1. So -1 times 1. Okay, so I have this -4 in front. 7 times 1 is 7. Minus -1 times 1 is a -1. Now remember this right here, that double negative is going to turn positive. So -4 times, okay, 7 plus 1 is 8. So this is going to come out -32. Okay, everybody see that? So -32. Okay, let's keep moving sideways. Okay, let's repeat those numbers in here. So -4, -3, 1, -1, 7, 1, 5, -1, 1. Okay. Now we want to circle the middle number on the top. Cross out the row, cross out the column. Okay. And now remember, -1 squared here. This one's going to be the one that is important, -1 cubed. Okay, now my circled number is a -3. Okay, my determinant, I forgot the word there for a second. Determinant is -1, 1, 5, 1. So -1, 1, 5, 1. Okay. Now again, that -1 cubed is going to stay a -1 times, okay, that -3. Okay, and then when I do the crisscross here, -1 times 1 minus 5 times 1, crisscross, 5 times 1. Okay, now -1 times -3 is going to turn to a +3. -1 times 1, -1 minus 5 times 1 is 5. -1 minus 5. Now, guys, we did this in that very first video. -1 minus 5, that's actually going to add together to a -6. 3 times -6. Okay, -18. Okay, so there's my second one. Okay, one more, and we're done. -4, -3, 1, -1, 7, 1. 5, negative 1, 1. Okay. Now again, we circle, cross out the row, the column. Okay. So now again, negative 1 squared, negative 1 to the third. Now this one was negative 1 to the fourth, which remember really doesn't do anything. An even power, a negative to an even power goes away. The negative goes away. Okay, I've got the 1 up here. Okay, and then I've got my discriminant. Okay. Negative 1, 7, 5, negative 1. Okay, again, the negative 1 to the fourth doesn't do anything. Really, that 1 doesn't do anything. So really just crisscross negative 1 times negative 1. See that? Negative 1 times negative 1 minus 5 times 7. Crisscross. Now, negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Minus 5 times 7 is 35. 1 minus 35, negative 34. Now, I dropped this 1. This 1 in front here doesn't really do anything, so I just dropped it. So that's negative 34. Okay, one more step and we're done. Now, remember, we're going to combine the negative 32, the negative 18, and the negative 34. We're going to combine those numbers. So negative 32 plus negative 18 plus negative 34. Boom, negative 84. So negative 84. Now I know all of our answers have been negative, so I guess that's not a huge deal. So again, we're going to need to use a negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. Remember, 1/2 really just divides the 84 by 2. I can kind of do this in my head because you really just divide 8 by 2 and 4 by 2. Again, negative and negative makes a positive. 42. Boom. There it is. Okay. So the area for the area of this triangle would be positive 42. So again, negative 1/2 times a negative 84, positive 42. Okay. So you probably can see this already. Okay, there is the triangle that you're going to try on your own. Okay, negative 3, negative 5, negative 1, 4, and 4, negative 1. Okay, pretty similar to the one I just did. It's got negatives in it. It's going to be a little more challenging. Okay, but try to follow those steps the best you can. Okay. Okay. Enter in your answer and we'll take a look at that and check that, okay? So have a good week. We'll see you next week, okay? Take care. Bye.